Growing up, my parents instilled in me a fierce sense of responsibility and a relentless work ethic. From the time I was old enough to mow lawns or shovel snow, I was out there earning every dime I could. I'd stash my crumpled bills and loose change in an old coffee can under my bed, dreaming of the day I could buy my first car. That car wasn't just a means of getting around. It was a gleaming badge of my independence. Proof that my sweat and determination could carve out something real in the world. After months of saving, I finally had enough. I chose a Subaru Outback, a sturdy, practical car that matched my no-nonsense approach to life. The day I drove it off the lot, I felt a surge of pride ripple through me. I'd done this on my own, no handouts, no shortcuts, just me and my grit. That pride stood in stark contrast to my younger brother, Chase. Where I'd been raised with discipline and high expectations, Chase seemed to glide through life as a golden child. Our parents doted on him, showering him with toys, clothes, and later, cash, without ever asking him to lift a finger. I'd come home from a long shift at the hardware store, hands callous and clothes streaked with dirt, only to see Chase sprawled on the couch, gaming controller in hand, complaining that he was bored. It wasn't just a favoritism that gnawed at me. It was a way to excuse his laziness, as if hard work was optional for him but mandatory for me. Over the years, that difference festered into a quiet resentment. We weren't close, Chase and I. We shared a roof, but not much else. The real fracture came after I took a weekend trip with some friends to clear my head. I'd been working extra hours, saving up for a new set of tires for Subaru, and I was looking forward to crashing in my own bed when I got back. Instead, I walked into a nightmare. My mom met me at the door, her tone casual, almost flippant. "Oh, by the way," she said, "we gave your car to Chase. He needed it more than you do." My stomach dropped. I stood there, keys still jingling in my hand, trying to process what she just said. "What do you mean, you gave it to him?" I asked, my voice tight. She shrugged, like it was no big deal. "You're doing fine. You can just buy another one." I felt the heat rising in my chest, a mix of disbelief and raw anger. That car wasn't theirs to give. It was mine. I'd paid for it, registered it in my name, maintained it with my own hands. I stormed past it to find my dad in the living room, hoping he'd see reason. "Dad, tell me this is a joke," I said. He barely looked up from his newspaper. "Don't make a mountain out of a molehill," he muttered. "Chase needed a car, and yours was just sitting there." "Just sitting there?" I'd been gone for 2 days. I turned to Chase, who was slouched in the corner, avoiding my gaze. "Did you know about this?" I demanded. He mumbled something about how he didn't ask for it, but he didn't exactly give it back either. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own family had taken something I'd worked so hard for and handed it over like it was nothing. I tried to reason with them, explaining how much that car meant to me, how it wasn't theirs to give away. But they doubled down, acting like I was the unreasonable one for being upset. "You're so dramatic," my mom said, rolling her eyes. "It's just a car." That was the moment I realized they didn't see me, not the real me, anyway. To them, I was just a dependable one, the one who'd figure out, no matter what they threw at me. A few days later, the situation spiraled further. A friend texted me, asking if I'd heard about Chase getting pulled over. I called him up, and he filled me in. Chase had been driving my Subaru with fake tags, and the cops had impounded it as an unregistered vehicle. My head spun. Not only had they stolen my car, but now it was tangled up in some legal mess because of Chase's recklessness. I drove to the impound lot myself, paperwork in hand, and confirmed what I already knew. The title was still in my name. Legally, it was mine, but emotionally, I was done. That night, I packed my bags, rented a cheap apartment across town, and cut off contact with my parents. I couldn't stomach their excuses anymore. For a year, I kept my distance. I threw myself into work, rebuilding my savings and my sense of self. I bought a beat-up old truck to get around, nothing fancy, but it was mine. Life was quiet, steady, until it wasn't. One day, I got a call from a bank about a late payment on an $8,000 loan I'd never taken out. My blood ran cold as I dug into it, pulling my credit report and finding a gaping wound where my financial identity used to be. The loan was in my name, but the signature wasn't mine. I confronted the bank, then the police, and piece by piece, the truth came out. My dad had forged my identity to secure the money. He'd used my social security number, my signature, everything. When I called him, voice shaking with fury, he didn't even deny it. "We needed the cash," he said, like that justified it. "You were doing so well, we figured you wouldn't mind." Wouldn't mind? I hung up, hands trembling, and sat there in the dark, trying to wrap my head around it. This wasn't just about a car anymore. This was my entire life they'd toyed with. The betrayal sank into my bones, heavy and cold. I hired a lawyer, filed a fraud report, and started untangling the mess they'd made. But it got worse. Chase called me one night, his voice small and frantic. "They're trying to pin it on me," he said. "They want me to say I took out the loan so Dad doesn't get in trouble." I could hear the panic in him. The same kid who'd always been shielded from consequences, now caught in their web. For the first time, I saw him not as a spoiled brat I'd resented, but as another victim of their selfishness. We met up the next day at a diner, sitting across from each other with coffee growing cold between us. "I don't know what to do," he admitted, staring at the table. "They've always bailed me out, but this is too much." I leaned forward, my own anger simmering beneath the surface. "We're not taking the fall for them," I said. "Not this time." Together, we started digging. Chase had access to their house, their files, and he brought me what he found. Bank statements, forged documents, even a power of attorney form my mom had faked to get into my accounts. It was chilling. Seeing my name scrawled in her handwriting, a twisted mimicry of my own signature. The more we uncovered, the clearer it became. They'd been siphoning money from me for months, maybe longer. We took everything to my lawyer, who built a case that was airtight and devastating. In court, I stood before a judge and laid it all out. The car, the loan, the forged documents, the years of trust they'd shattered. My parents sat across the room, heads bowed, unable to meet my eyes. I didn't hold back. They raised me to value hard work and honesty. I told the courtroom, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. And then they turned around and stole both from me. The judge didn't mince words. What they'd done was fraud, plain and simple. They took a plea deal, restitution, financial counseling, probation. No jail time. But the weight of their guilt was punishment enough. They'd lost me, and they knew it. Afterward, I stood outside the courthouse, the wind cutting through my jacket, and felt a strange mix of relief and grief. Chase was beside me, quiet for once. "I'm sorry," he said finally, "for the car, for everything." I nodded, not ready to forgive, but willing to try. We'd both been burned, just in different ways. I moved forward, focusing on myself, therapy, new goals, a life untainted by their chaos. The Subaru was long gone, sold off by the impound lot, but I didn't need it anymore. I'd built something stronger, a sense of worth they couldn't touch. Healing was slow, messy, but it was mine. And for the first time, I knew I didn't owe them a damn thing.